I'm wrestling, do not weep for me. Celebrate what I am. Celebrate what I have been. Celebrate what I represent. And celebrate the many ways I have impacted your life. I will survive this test as I have survived others. I am forever etched into the very fiber of all mankind. The world needs me. Time is on my side. History guarantees me. I am wrestling. Do not wait for me.
Yo, what's up, guys? This is episode 3 of the T-Row and Funky Show, brought to you by Defend Soap. Defend what you have built. And we are lucky to have another great guest this week. We had Tom Ryan on last week, and this gentleman actually wrestled for Tom Ryan at Hofstra. So what's up, Noel?
What's happening, guys?
I'm doing. Tom, are you doing good? We haven't even talked since Thanksgiving.
I'm doing good, man. I'm
right?
hanging in there. You know, it's a nice little holiday weekend, and we got the man, the myth, the legend, Noel Thompson on the show. So obviously, it's a good way to start off.
But before we get started with Noel, I got a confession to make to both you guys, and I know both you guys, so I feel like I can tell you this. Well, I'm telling the world now. Man, I had a terrible day yesterday, and I'll tell you why. Because number one, the Packers proved to the world they stink. And number two, and this might be very un-American, I don't like Thanksgiving food. I don't like turkey that much. I don't like potatoes. I don't like sweet potatoes. I don't like cranberries. So, you know, I feel like a party pooper, but man, my day was not that special.
I think I made up for you, Ben. I'm a big fan of the Thanksgiving feast, so I think I had 2 plates at my parents' and then 2 plates with my in-laws.
Oh.
So I made up for it, man.
Wow.
I gotta go out and hit a 5-mile run here after this recording.
Wow.
Noel, did you gorge yourself also?
You know, I had a lot. Turkey's not my favorite food, similar to you. I mean, I ate well. But I think, you know, for me, Thanksgiving, I start off with because I'm in New York, is that Macy's Day Parade.
Oh, yeah.
And 2 of my friends throw like amazingly sick parties on that parade route. So it's less about the dinner and more about the party between 8 and 2 for me.
Nice. Well, that'd be fun. I'm gonna have to try that sometime.
Yeah, that's a once in a lifetime deal. That's a good deal to be a part of.
Well, you know, speaking of, that's kind of a promotion, and Noel, I don't know if you listened to our first 2 shows, but that's kind of, we talk about promoting the sport of wrestling in new and different ways. And the first thing I got to talk to you about is, and I don't know if you're the driving force or Novo or Dave Barry, who it is, but the Beat the Streets Gala, and you guys have done a bunch of different ones the last few years, but that has got to be one of the coolest wrestling productions every single year.
Yeah, it is, and you're in the first one. I put you in the first one.
Battle on the boat, baby.
Who did you wrestle?
I wrestled Mozafe on the boat.
Oh my God! So that was the first year. So I was on the board a year before that year. So 2009, end of 2008 is when I joined the board. And the first time I was on the board, we used to have this Golden Night of Gustavinos. I'm sure you guys probably been to that one too. Mm-hmm. But it was no wrestling match, and it was a great. You know, we had Doug Blue Ball come out. We had, you know, a bunch of, you know, Olympic gold medalists, and, you know, everybody got medals and stuff and belts. And, you know, me and Nova at the time, we were like, you know, wrestlers like to watch wrestling. So why not? Why, right? I mean, it's like, It's great to get everybody in New York City, but, you know, wrestlers like to watch wrestling. And at the time, you know, I was chairman of the New York Athletic Club, so it was very easy to get the wrestlers, right? So, like, we did, I think, but prior to that, it was just no one knew a way to go about it. Like, how do you actually get the wrestler, and do you call USA Wrestling? Do you call them? How do you get their number? So I kind of had like a list of, you know, it was pretty much the first one on the boat was, if you looked at it, it was Greco woman freestyle, but it was all mostly New York AC wrestlers and you know, and guys like we knew, like you or Bubba Jenkins, you know, that we tried to get. And it just, you know, once you get wrestlers watching wrestling, and then you're just picking a cool venue after you do the first one, and everyone sees, wow, on the Intrepid, you know, the next one is Times Square, and then
wait, can I stop you for 1 second though?
Yeah,
you guys did make one mistake that night, and you know, I don't know if you remember this, but How did Royce Alger get on the comedy gig? Because that was rough. I
that's
almost
Mike.
felt bad for him.
That fight. That's all Mike. I had nothing to do with that. I had,
That wasn't you?
Yeah, I mean, that was not the Royce Alger decision at the comedy part. I remember that.
I will tell you though, Ben. I'm gonna step in there though. Have you ever been around Royce Alger? I mean, he's pretty high on the list of guys that can make you belly laugh within 30 seconds.
Yeah, he's funny. He's funny.
So I will say I was there as a spectator, and Royce, who's a good friend of not a good friend of mine, but we're very friendly with each other. I was expecting him to just
Royce as well,
knock it out of the park. So I think the environment wasn't exactly Royce-esque or whatever it might be. But most of the time, the guys got me rolling on the floor, man.
Yeah, Royce actually studies comedy lines.
Oh, really?
I've been to Cuba with Royce probably over 6-7 times, and one time I was in his room, and he had like a book. I mean, he really studies his stuff. I mean, his comedy. If you listen to his wit, it's really thought out. He doesn't like just randomly throw stuff out there. He knows comedy and he reads about it. So don't
sleep on Royce. Cool. You'll see him on Comedy Central here in no time. Okay, so after that initial year, you guys go. You guys have done the one in the train station. You guys done how many years in a row now? Times Square. It's just been awesome.
Yeah, since 2010. So this would be year 7, because the 2010 was the first one that we would have a wrestling match at Beat the Streets.
Okay. And so I don't want you to give anything away, but are you guys going back to Times Square, or what's the deal?
I think we're going to go back to Times Square.
What's the theme, Noel?
So the theme is always the difficult part, right? So I think last year we nailed it with Cuba.
That was awesome. That was a great match.
And Central. I would say the only down year we had was probably 2014, where we kind of did like an all-world thing, but it was nothing like nobody knew why. They knew they had to be there, but it wasn't like it wasn't like it was just like one of those years. It's like right after
But correct me if I'm wrong.
Wrestling.
Correct. Yeah. So it was more of a strategic thing to be on a unified front with the Committee to Preserve Olympic Wrestling and the IOC, right? So you kind of felt like obligated, right, to have everyone be united in Times Square.
No, that was in Grand Central. Right?
Oh, okay.
So
All right, gotcha.
We did that Grand Central, right? And in 2014 is what I'm saying. It was like a hangover because we had. We just knocked it out the park so many times. Mm-hmm. That like the 2014 one was like, all right, we'll fly in different guys from different countries around the world, and also the venue wasn't the same area in Times Square that it normally was. It was the first time. It was kind of like off where the big jumbotrons that you used to hook us up with, Big Boy. Yeah. He used to get us all those great jumbotrons in the early beginnings, and then so I say other than 2014, I think we really delivered a great premium product of promotion to the wrestling community. And I think that's what you guys are doing, right? I mean, I think more of these podcasts, more guys like you who actually know the sport, get involved in sport in the sense of commentating and delivering a message, it's going to grow the sport.
Well, you know who I want to see this year, Noel, and Tommy and I were just texting about this the other night. You need to get some of your friends on Wall Street, put a briefcase of money, send it over to Russia, and get Sadulayev to come over and wrestle Snyder.
I'd love to see.
His Twitter feed is
Abdul Rashid Sadulayev.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I could definitely. I'm going to be at. I just met Putin 3 weeks ago. I was there. I brought Kayla Harrison, Olympic gold medalist, to meet him. At the World Olympians Forum with the IOC. So, okay. I mean, I could definitely go to Russia. And again, we just the Olympic year, it has to make sense for them, right? And I think the matchup is not even an 85 to 84 kilo matchup. Sadulayev after the Olympics, I think, is going to go up to 96. He wants to wrestle Snyder. So, the good thing is Snyder wrestles for us at Titan Mercury. If Sajulayev wants to make that match, I mean, we could definitely make that match happen. It's just more the timing of when Beat the Streets is, you know.
Do you think we could convince Burroughs to bump up for a night and wrestle Sajulayev?
No.
I don't think it's happening. I said no. I said no. Also, no. I don't think it's happening.
Burroughs is a very smart, wise, senior wrestler amongst the folks. So he's not going to take any risk that's unnecessary.
Yeah, in the middle of Olympic year, it might not make sense.
All right.
Yeah, I think Sajulayev is a young champ, right? So Burroughs 2 years in world champ. Burroughs, yes. Now Burroughs like, well, why do I need to do that? It's not going to make me more money, right? So I think it's just the veteran aspect of the sport.
Hey, so real quick, you got this wrestling background, Noel. Putin, he likes the sambo. So throw you guys in a mixed martial arts cage. Who's got the upper hand there?
Well, he got more guns than me.
You can't take those in the cage.
So, you can't run faster than bullets, they say.
Oh,
so,
man.
And I have to go back to Russia, so
Okay.
I will defer to as they call him, the boss.
Okay, nice. Man, hey, one more. Well, while we got you on the phone, I'm going to pitch you. I like a good sales pitch. How about we do Isaiah Martinez versus Alex Deringer? Because Tommy and I argued about this off air.
I like that matchup.
We argued about it. I got Deringer. He's got
Martinez.
Wow.
I like them both, but I got
you know what?
I think Deringer's too big. I think he's too big. Who you got, Noel?
Wow.
Break the tie here. Break the tie. Who you picking?
Oh no! It's just gonna be blasted everywhere.
and
Come on.
we cannot afford for you to be a politician, Noel. You got to take one step. We don't have any politicians on our podcast.
Oh man! You know what?
Freestyle, of course.
Freestyle, right?
It's freestyle, yeah.
Yeah, but Deringer is also a world. I think bronze or silver.
I think he won it. I think he won it. Junior world champ, I believe.
Man, that is a match.
That's a great match, right?
I'm gonna go with Isaiah.
Oh,
guy at 66. I think because I think he's looking to make that 66 team, and it's going to be him and James Green, Metcalf right in that mix there.
You think Imar can get that small?
I think he's going to be going down to 66, I believe.
Do you got inside information on that, or that's an assumption?
Well, you got to be careful in my world of Wall Street. Inside information is not a good.
Man, Imar's freaking
Martinez gets to try out for the team. Will he even get a petition into the Olympic trials? Are you talking about post Olympics?
Yeah, well, if you win the NCAA's, as you know, you get an automatic into the trials.
So we're talking. Wow, this is breaking news, Noel. No one.
So James Green's going 66.
We heard that one,
right?
Yep.
Then you got the Imar.
It's 65, by the way, isn't it?
65.
Guys?
It's 65.
Oh, 65. Yeah, that's
66.
right. 65. That's correct. Stand corrected. That is true. It's 65. I mean, you're gonna have. You got Oliver and then Stever. I mean,
Pico.
That's a weight, man. That's a weight. That's the weight.
Stever just beat the 2014 world champ this morning.
I was going to bring that. I didn't want to spend our time with Noel talking about results, but yes, Stever beat him this morning.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like it's gonna be one of the most impressive lineup. Olympic trials at 65 kilos that we've seen in a long time. It's going to be like one of those Schultz, like when that time, like Schultz, Kenny Monday, Kevin Jack, all those guys were in the same weight, but they didn't all shake out to whatever they're going to go. Yeah. I think that's what you're seeing at 65 kilos right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, and the hard part is none of them can go down. It's 125 below that. It's 163 above that. They got nowhere to go. I mean, they're all piled
they'll
in
go
there.
74 once Burroughs, decides to,
But
or
I think Burroughs just wants to take out John Smith, and then he's out of there.
Burroughs said 2020. He said he's sticking around until 2020. He's been on record saying that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be. I mean,
that's a long time, dude. That's a long time.
Well, the good thing is it's the more depth in our sport makes our sport better, right? It's more stories, right? And that's what you guys are doing. No one tells the stories about. No one makes our wrestlers superstars, and you need more depth, right? You need to root for the fifth-ranked guy.
Well, I'll tell you, Noel and Ben, unfortunately, it's not hard to build depth. And this goes back to our last episode, Ben, with the UWW, but it's not hard to build depth when you keep, losing weight classes.
Yeah,
I mean, we have no choice. There's going to be depth.
Yeah, we had no choice. To be honest with you, in 2013, we had zero choice, and I could tell you, I was in the middle of a lot of those conversations, and the IOC we wouldn't be an Olympic sport if we didn't.
So Noel, I got a question for you. So you were intimately involved in that process, and you're telling me we had no choice.
Yeah.
My question, and I'm not asking this question facetiously, I really want to know the answer. What's the difference between one less weight class or taking away one of the bronze medals? Because you're still going to have the same amount of medals given out if you give away a bronze.
No, that's a great question. The reason is the two bronze medals, right? Because obviously third is 1, 2, 3, not 1, 2, 4, right?
Correct.
It's the fact is the diversity of the countries that win medals, right? So essentially what happens is if you remove a bronze medal, it hurts our diversity in terms of the IOC. So the IOC doesn't want to see necessarily the same countries winning, right?
Do you think that's why they don't seed
US,
the worlds?
Russia. That's correct. That's exactly why they don't seed the worlds, right? So it's a macro picture versus a true wrestling picture, right? Because at the end of the day, these guys don't watch wrestling, right? So all they're going to look at is what countries win. And if it's always the same countries that win, then, well, why don't we have less weight classes? Right? Why don't we have less wrestling?
What about in other sports, though, Noel? Like, obviously, the United States has a dominant hold on track and field, and the United States has a dominant hold on, say, basketball.
Swimming. I mean, it's
swimming.
It's
well, not necessarily. So I think basketball is probably not a good. I mean, track and field is not a good example because you got Jamaica, right, which is strong, and then you got the Africans that are very strong in the distance. But a better analogy would probably be, say, swimming.
Okay.
And you're right, Tommy. They are under attack, so they're going to lose some races.
What?
Right? Because
really?
the same country. Yeah.
So
Yep.
you can't
They're gonna
win.
lose some.
So you're telling me you can't win the gold medal in the 50-yard freestyle sprint, the 100-meter freestyle sprint, and the 150? I mean, they actually are.
Well,
they're actually just going to get a sprint and a distance per stroke.
Which is how it should be, right? It should be.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
you got the medley. You got four. I mean, it's like you got
right?
four different styles. We only have two
what
styles.
Happens is you get some guy that has a lot of juice and he builds his sport up, right? It's natural.
Right.
No, and you can't blame whoever is in power back in the 80s who loved swimming and wanted to see more races, right?
Yeah.
So to make wrestling stronger, it goes more to the political aspect of get involvement, right, in the Olympic movement. So, right, if the reason why we got thrown out the Olympics is nobody in the room. If everybody's voting on your sport and you're not in the room, guess what happens?
Yeah.
there's deals done and then you get voted out. So,
hey Noel, how do you think Ben would do in the UWW IOC political landscape? He's going to come into the room in Switzerland. He's going to have a hat on that says, "Make wrestling great again."
Make wrestling great again.
That would
he'd hold his own.
That would be interesting. They might give you a lot of champagne and wine for it.
There you go. There you go.
But at least you get something.
I'm gonna make a.
I like that though.
Make wrestling great again.
That's actually, you know what? That's a hat that people need to walk into USA Wrestling offices with. I think that's actually not a bad idea.
Well, Ben's launching a campaign, asking for UWW president 2020, make wrestling great again. It's in the works.
I think that well, UWW has changed a tremendous amount for wrestling, and I mean, because I could tell you, because I'm involved and watching and seeing. I could tell USA Wrestling hasn't changed a lot since prior to 2013 and after. So I think how you change the world is not necessarily at the UWW level, it's at the federation level, right? So how do you get all these different federations around the world to help and do more for the athletes, right? And I think that's where it starts. It's almost like a micro to macro versus macro to micro, right? The macro thing was shoot the leader, change leadership, change governance, get involved in the IOC, right? But I think to really change wrestling, you got to unify wrestling. And, I think, wrestling looks really good because you have guys like us that are promoting the sport, and putting money in the sport. But I think leadership is not nearly where it needs to be be a premier sport, right? I can't, the top investors in the world, sit across from the room of some of the guys we have. They won't invest, right? So you gotta, and it's being real because I know everybody, right? I'm involved in this, so I'm not saying this as a outsider. I'm saying this as someone who's involved in it, and I think everyone has to really analyze where you want the sport to go, right? And I think that's what you got to think of. If you want this to be a primetime sport, right? Primetime meaning not viewed positively. Everyone views wrestling positively. But where people really start making money, you got to really change the leadership, good old boy system. No question about it. And I think when you do that, the reason it's important is because live TV is in the future is sports. So meaning sports rights are only going to make more money in the future, right? So you could Netflix any TV show. If you watch Walking Dead or House of Cards or any of those shows, you don't need to be home. But if you want to see live television, or you want to see who won NCAAs, you want to see who won the Packers game, you don't want to hear that on a Twitter.
For sure.
You want to see that live. So those rights to that media is going to go up, and for that value, so meaning wrestling hasn't made the most money that it could make yet. So we're not so it has to evolve, consolidate, and you need more change to really drive it to the next level, right?
And you're beating the same war drums we're beating. No, I mean, our whole first show was about how wrestling needs to professionalize itself, and that starts with creating great promotions and great events. And rights fees, athletics rights fees are the most expensive thing in the world right now because everyone watches sports live, which is just like we were talking about. So, man, we are we're on the exact same page.
Well, think about
there.
Flow Wrestling, which is a great venue for displaying wrestling, gets wrestling for cheap.
Well, there's no other bidders. It's supply and demand.
So that tells you right there. There's great content there, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But they don't pay for it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a problem. If you could get amazing, it's like, it's like you're getting free Nikes, but it's a great shoe. Something's not right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
100%.
and I think the person who finds a way to monetize the Olympics, right? Because wrestling is the Olympics, is going to make a lot of money.
For sure.
Going to make a lot of money.
Well, let's.
And it's going to help a lot of people. It helps a lot of athletes. That's the most important thing, right? The more money wrestling makes, the more Jordan Burroughs maybe he makes $1 million instead, of 200,000 or whatever, right? I mean and then you get more businessmen to say, I'd rather just focus on wrestling. I can make $2 million running a business in wrestling, or $3 million, and it could be a lot of people. You got to make the pie bigger. That a lot of people see that as a good opportunity because there's so many wrestlers in America. There's no way it can't be done, but it definitely starts with leadership, and it's like Uber, right? You need a disruptive economy in wrestling to really change it because you have a disruptive technology, which I guess you could consider Flow that, but they pay nothing for live TV.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's
so I think that's important.
And that's where you get in where supply demand, if there's another business then they bid against flow, and then maybe it goes the price goes up, and the consumer wins and the athlete wins. But to this point, there's no one else getting in the industry to compete with them. But I don't want to get too far. We don't have too much longer with you, Noel. So we need to talk at least a little about the Grapple at the Garden, which is happening this weekend, and it's live. It's live on Flow. That's who we're talking about. And we got I know two events I got highlighted here are and you got a lot going on. You got the youth, you got the All-Star, high school. But two ones I got highlighted, which I think will be fun matches, are Cornell versus Rutgers and Cornell versus Nebraska. I think those are going to be great matches.
Oh, yeah. I think, I'm so happy we, myself and Dylan a couple of years ago decided to start the Grapple in order to get the NCAAs, which obviously are coming this year. I think, the Cornell-Nebraska match is going to be phenomenal. I mean, anytime they get a venue like Madison Square Garden to showcase the great sport known to mankind, I mean, that's a win, Yep. And the fact is you just got to keep doing it. And I agree with you. I think, everybody gets a little flavor of everything because you got the youth all the way through. But the college matches, the first one we had Oklahoma State, Iowa, Ohio State, they're all there.
Hey,
and Nebraska.
Wait. I just realized something, Noel. Did you pick IMR because he's going to be at the Grapple at the Garden this weekend, and you didn't want to have to face him knowing that you picked against him? Is that the deal?
I think that's what
I didn't work at Goldman Sachs for no reason.
Because Isaiah, he might take that personal. He's kind of tough. He might just start mugging you because you picked against.
I said he was the favorite.
I'm saying you picked him because you had to face it. You had to see him this weekend.
Not necessarily. So, but you got. I mean, they're both great, and they both will wrestle for Tide Mercury as they pursue their careers. But Imar's hot right now.
Imar's hot. That's ain't that the truth? Did you watch the piece that Flo did on him?
I did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you got to see it. It's freaking amazing. It almost brought me to tears. The thing with him and his dad, because obviously his dad just passed, but it was good. It was awesome.
Did you guys see the flip he did off of his head?
No, I didn't see that. Oh,
when he's warming up, he's running forward, and it looks like he's going to just do a typical front roll, and he does a front flip forward, but he doesn't use his hands at all. They stay at his side, and his head hits the mat, and he bounces off of his head back into a front handspring and continues to jog down the mat. I got to show you guys. I'll text it to you. I don't know if maybe you guys can do that stuff, but I was blown away by his.
I bet you got Reese Humphrey can do that.
When I was 165 pounds, I couldn't do that. That's impressive.
Oh, you know what? I just got some good news here, Noel, that you'll like. I'm on the Twitter, obviously. Nazar Kluchitsky, who's a guy both of us know, he just won the tournament over there in Nice. Henry DeGlane.
Wow.
So that's a nice win for him.
He's tough, man.
He's tough, right?
We got Stephen Abbas wrestling tomorrow, and he's coming out of retirement. Did you guys know that?
I did. You're high on Stephen's chances, aren't you, Tommy?
I think if Stephen Abbas is all in, I know he's a 38-year-old guy, but if he's all in, if he's training in a way where, like when you guys train, when you felt desperate to get what it is that you set your mind to, if he's all in, I think he's on the short list of guys that can make the team.
Damn.
No comment? No.
I think that this is the problem is it's not whether he could win first round, second round. It's durability through the rounds, right? Mm-hmm. That's the difference when you get old.
Yep,
right?
I agree.
It's not the mentality of the skill change. Your knee gets banged up. It really gets banged up when you're 38, right?
The only thing I see...
if it was a one-match deal, that's different. If it was going through a grind tournament or best-of-3 series, it's tough.
Yeah. And the only thing I see there is that the 57 kilo, it's not quite as tough as 66. Like 66, we mentioned 6 freaking amazing wrestlers. And then like Nazar, we didn't even talk about Nazar, and he's a beast, So 57 does not have that depth.
Tony Ramos is in shape, and he's durable, right? That wins.
Yeah.
Right? And so you need another young, fresh legs to be able to compete with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Abbas will do well. I just don't think, unless he's training at a high level. I see a Henry Cejudo being a better opportunity for a surprise dark horse to make.
He's not coming back. Come on.
I feel like Noel knows something that we don't.
Cejudo ain't coming back. Stop, Noel. Noel, you already did break news for us on the. We're gonna get great ratings because you broke news that Isaiah Martinez is going 65 kilos.
We've talked about it, so what I'm saying is don't be surprised.
What about when Dana gives him this title shot that he's about to get? Because he won last week.
Well, they could. What's better for the UFC than a guy who just comes off making an Olympic team or making an Olympic trial final, right? Because no disrespect.
It's a great crossover. You get a lot of crossover fans that way.
It's great. It's great for the UFC. His fight's in 2 months, and then he has his Olympic trials and NBC. It's TV, right? It's reality TV.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. Like I'm gonna go to that UFC fight on December 12th. That's all good. That's great for them. Not a bad thing.
So more breaking news we got so far with Noel. Man, Noel, we need to have you on every week. We got Aymar going 65 kilo, and we got Cejudo coming out of retirement.
The time I'm in Cuba, so I'm hard to get.
All right, Noel. Let's hit one more topic with you, and then we'll let you go. This has been fun though. NCAAs, New York City, the biggest, best wrestling tournament on the face of the planet, and the biggest, best city on the face of the planet. What's up?
I mean, all right. This is my last breaking news for you. I'm going to tell you something I haven't really released. We're working on getting Garth Brooks to do a concert at the tournament.
When? Like before the semis, before the finals?
Between the finals and semifinals. So that All-American round. All-American round mornings.
Yeah.
So we're working
Freaking
on it.
awesome.
He hasn't committed yet, but we are in talks.
Wow.
So
that would be...
I want to blow this out. I want this to be the greatest. First of all, no one thought we could do it. So we got it done, right?
Yeah.
And I told everybody in 2011 we'll get it done, and we got it done.
Yeah.
Right? Now I want to make it the best fan-friendly experience of all time. You know why? Because that's how you drive value in wrestling.
Yep, 100%.
If we put on a show, right, on ESPN, right, there's going to be an investor that says, wow, look at that value, that wrestling brings to sports.
Yeah,
and that's going to drive more capital into the sport. So we're gonna do those pre-fight weigh-ins like we do UFC
for the finals.
Yep.
Oh no way! That's awesome.
Yep. We're probably going to have.
Is that event going to be property of the NCAA? Noel?
The weigh-in?
Yeah. Oh yeah. The NCAA is. Yeah, so I'm the head of the LOC, if you didn't know, and Dylan runs the event, and then Hofstra is the sponsor, is the school, and then the NCAA owns all the properties. So that's kind of like the team. And so the NCAA, because they used to have Flo do a lot of stuff there, and now they're only going to have. I think they got their. They might. I don't know. I got to ask them. They might let them come back out there. I don't know.
Yeah, they have very strong restrictions on flow. I know that. What they can and what they can't.
Yeah, because it used to be less restricted, I think, before. I don't think Flow did like a highlight thing last year, if I'm not mistaken.
They could. They couldn't.
Well, the NCAA is smart. Think about it. They know the property rights of wrestling's worth something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they bunch it with that ESPN coverage they do, and I think Flow is limited to 3 minutes of total live video per day, I believe. So that's almost nothing when you think about how many matches are happening.
Well, think about it. In the beginning, Flow used to get a lot more, right? And they're getting a lot less.
Yeah.
Because the NCAA is a business, and they're smart enough to realize that there's value there.
Yeah, for sure. It's
right. They wouldn't do that if they didn't think it was going to be worth something, right? I mean, that gives a great example of people not paying for anything and getting something, and the NCAA realizing, like, wow, there's going to be some value to all these matches that we're taping from round one through WrestleBacks now.
100%. And I do believe they air all the matches now, right? Is it through ESPN 3 or where is it through?
Yeah, it's going to be ESPN 2 and 3.
ESPN
all the
2
way
and
through.
3.
Yeah.
So we'll be able to see everything because, you know, with me, I can't book my ticket early because I don't know when I'm fighting yet. So, you know, if I come out, it might be last minute. I'm not sure if I can make it.
If you have any issues,
Noel, are you involved in any? Are you involved in any post match or post event, you know, fan frenzy social type events that are kind of non-sanctioned by the NCAA, more specific to our wrestling community? Are you involved in any of that?
We're having one with the Hall of Fame the day before it all kicks off. So if you shoot me offline, I'll make sure you guys are a part of that.
Nice. And so
what about something for
Saturday
the fans?
night? Where's the party?
All the fans can do.
Oh, for the fan fest, the reason we're not doing that is because New York City is just it's its own monster. Yeah, that's the problem. Like if you're in Oklahoma or Iowa, or you got to kind of set up something for the fan. But like New York, I don't want to compete with the wife that wants to take her husband to see a Broadway show after the match, or you're going to have more wives coming to this NCAA than any other one. So it's already the 20,000 number. The barrier will break that easily.
Wow, that's awesome.
Crazy.
So it's no reason, like in New York, is a place where you don't want to constrict people to something, right?
Yeah.
It's because the group of Cornell fans, or the group of Okie fans, the group of Missouri fans, the group of Buckeyes, they're going to want to do their own thing. They don't want to know that they got to show up somewhere in New York when New York is a place to explore.
Definitely. Well, that's awesome, man. You broke all kinds of news for us today. You're gonna break this show's gonna break records.
There you go. And I don't usually do podcasts that often. So I think in 2013 I did a ton of them because of just getting the message out for Saving Olympic Wrestling, make sure people understand what's going on. But this is great. I'm glad I could be a part of it.
This is fun. So, everyone make sure, obviously thanks, Noel, but make sure you check out the Grapple, the Garden, which will be live on Flow. That is this Sunday. There's youth matches. There's high school all-star duels. There are a ton of high-level college wrestling. And then come March, the best wrestling tournament on the planet and the best city on the planet. That's a hell of a match right there, huh, Noel?
It's going to be fun, man.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
All right. Thanks a lot, Noel. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Have a great evening.
Thanks, Noel. Appreciate it, brother.
Enjoy the rest of the leftovers. Bye.
Thanks.
See you.
Wow, we got some serious breaking news there. I actually just texted Mark Perry to try to confirm this IMR at 65 kilos because that turns the weight class on its head. We don't know. He's an unknown commodity at 65 kilos.
If the guy really can wrestle and make weight at 65 kilos and make it effectively, I'm putting him on. I'm putting him on notice. I think the guy can compete. Just the way that he takes people down. And I know they're college guys. They're not per se world class yet, but the way that he controls and dominates positions, I can't imagine him not being able to provide a little flair at the Olympic trials and toss a couple guys on their bean and really make things interesting. I'm going to put the guy right up there. But, by the same token, Logan Stieber gets second at a world-class event, beats the 2014 world champion. Brent Metcalf is a pretty consistent player on the world level at this point. You got James Green cutting down. Don't forget about Jordan Oliver. The Olympic trials are going to be something else, Ben. I got to tell you. I'm excited, but I'm a big fan of Imar. I'm a bigger fan of Logan Stieber. There's no secret there.
Listen, stop being a homer.
I'm not being a homer, man. Maybe I am. I know Logan personally, so it's more than just the fact that Russell. I know the kid personally; he's a great guy, but Imar at 65 kilos. If that really can happen,
really can happen. Mark Perry, tweet me back or text me back. I just texted you, bro. See if this.
Yeah, I'm interested. We should have Mark on to talk about it. Would he take? Would he take? He would take his own guy over Deringer. Obviously, that's a silly question.
That's a silly question. But that's his uncle's guy, so he might have to pull his punches a little bit there. But Mark is not a guy to pull his punches. So, wow.
He's not.
The other breaking news, Henry Cejudo, is he really coming back? Because he tried coming back in 2012, and obviously he didn't make the team. But he did have that pro match against Ramos at Agon where he wasn't training for it, and he gave Ramos a run for his money.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and Henry's a good friend of mine, and he knows what all in is because he trained under Terry Brands leading to the Beijing Olympics. But I was around him a little bit in 2012, and I think he would even tell you that he wasn't heart and soul completely into the sport that year. Had he been, he would have been right there. I mean, he had quite a go around with Nick Simmons at the Olympic trials. If I'm not sure if you remember, and so if he makes a comeback, that could be interesting. I mean, you always want to lead towards the guys that have been training religiously, for 18, 24, 36 months leading up to the Olympics. But these guys, Henry Cejudo, even Stephen Habas, I know he's kind of a little bit older than all these guys, but man, when they were scrapping, they were world class all the way. So I really don't think you can count anybody out. These stories are good for wrestling, and people, in the inner circle of wrestling at the high level, it's kind of like, what's he doing coming back? What's he doing messing around? I mean, the reality is they love the sport. They're not protecting anything. They're not defined by their age, and they want to get in there and throw their hat in there.
Yeah.
Go beat them. Go beat them if you have a problem with it. So,
yeah.
I think this stuff's good for the sport, and I think it's exciting.
I think I would come back, but 63, 163 for me to make, that's like a 2 to 3 month diet. That's hard. So I'm going to sit up comfortably in the stands in Iowa City and watch these guys scrap it out.
That's right. I would come back if it weren't for the thrashing I took from Snyder 3 weeks ago. Jeez. I think the reality is, Ben, and you know this. I mean, it's not really the age; it's the commitment, the emotional investment that you've got to have for a long period of time. That's really what takes you out of the game. And I think that's what takes you out of the game more than your physical attributes or downfalls do. And I'm busy raising 4 kids and a lot of other things. I mean, if I tried to throw my hat in there, first of all, it'd be a huge physical comeback. And then, these guys, Kyle Snyder, he lives, breathes, eats wrestling 24/7. I mean, do you really want to step across the mat and tangle with a guy like that? Not really, unless you're thinking the same way he is. So yeah. I think that's the challenge for these older guys.
Definitely. Wait, Tommy, I'm blown away by what we got from Noel. Okay, how upset do you think older wrestling fans, or the old stodgy crew who doesn't like anything new or anything different, is going to be by these weigh-ins that are live at the NCAAs? I think that's a great idea. I think it's going to bring a lot of promotion and hype to the sport, but I think they're going to get some pushback on that. I really think they are.
The old school guys are going to say, we got to stick with the tradition of the sport. We're showboating. We're not sticking to the integrity of what the sport is all about. Blah 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 blah. But the reality is that that's how you promote. I mean, the Super Bowl, for crying out loud, has media day on Tuesday where these guys are showing up and they're obligated to speak to the media for the better part of what, Ben? 4 or 5 or 6 hours?
Yeah, they do it with mixed martial arts does it too, obviously. And I don't like it. When I'm cutting weight, I'm like getting so annoyed at the media people, but I understand it's part of my job, and I understand it's why I make money. So I suck it up and I do it, even though sometimes I give them a hard time about it. Like this last time I fought over there, I think it was 2 hours after weigh-ins, I had to go be live on Fox. And it's like the last thing I want to do 2 hours after weigh-ins is go be live on Fox TV. I don't want to do it, but that's part of the reason 13,000 people showed up in Singapore to watch the one fight. So you got to do it, and that's what kind of, I think athletes will probably want to do some pushback too. But man, that's all. Noel's kind of pushing the NCAAs forward.
It's good stuff. It's going to be exciting. It'll be real exciting. And then every year, right? So when you do something, the next time around you get better. I mean, everybody knows that's how everything is in life. So we're going to run this weigh-in, and we're probably going to see areas where we could make that event better. But if you do it every year, by the 5th or 6th year, The fans could be adjusted to it. They could be used to that type of event. They'll get excited about it. They'll watch it on Flow Wrestling, or they'll watch it on ESPN. Maybe some of the athletes that are in the 10th, 11th, 12th grade are watching this. They're like, man, when I'm in the NCAA finals and I'm doing the weigh, and I'm going to wear a freaking sombrero onto the scale and make a show of it. And then next thing you know, wrestling's being promoted, wrestling's being talked about, and you can do that without abandoning your integrity, or without stripping down the merits of the sport and making it something that it's not. You can do that. And people think that, when we do something different than what wrestling's always been, then we must be slapping the sport and what it stands for in the face. And I don't think that's true, Ben.
And actually, I got this written down. I got my notepad right next to me about things we want to talk about. And I got this written down really huge here, Tommy. I had to run to the grocery store right before we did this show because I forgot something this morning. And
I had to work a half a day because I'm in the food business and it never sleeps. So,
they got the Red Cross people out there shaking their little bells. And
that's right.
It's like, I understand that's how it's been for the last however many years. I understand that worked, but Tommy, I don't carry cash most of the time. I got my credit card. What am I going to give them? And man, I feel bad. It's 8 hours or whatever they stand out there in the cold Wisconsin weather for the next month. I mean, don't you think that the Red Cross be better served with some kind of strong email campaign or Facebook,
or they could sit out there in the street and they can have the iPhone and put that little, it's called Square, that company that just went public.
Yeah, there you go.
And they can just swipe your card at the traffic light, but they'll be accessible to people who have cash and people who have plastic.
Yeah, but that's like that made me think of wrestling people, because that's like some people just don't want to change, and you got to change with the times, because man, that's a lot of work having how many volunteers at every freaking grocery store standing outside in the cold. I mean, Wisconsin. This is Wisconsin we're talking about. It's so cold already, and then standing there. Do some social media, because every once in a while I'll get an email from the Red Cross and they'll say something. I'll say, that's a good cause. I'll donate it. I'll throw $100 there, and I click my, click pay, and it's done in 2 seconds. And no one has to stand out in the cold and ring a bell for 8 hours for that.
Hey, you know what? This is kind of off topic, but I wanted to bring it up because I'm considering going to the NCAAs this year, and my wife and I were talking about it and stuff. And even though it's in New York, to me,
it's going to be
the
awesome.
NCAA. I love New York. It's my favorite city in the world. I've been to a lot of cities. It's my favorite city in the whole planet, and probably my favorite event that I could go to is the NCAA wrestling tournament. Mm-hmm. But going to New York City and going to the NCAAs, they're so all-inclusive and time-consuming that I don't think you can experience New York City and the NCAA wrestling tournament at the same time.
Well, you could stay, stay Sunday or stay till Monday or, something like that. Skip work a couple days, Tommy. Take it all in.
Yeah, man, I think I will. I mean, I'm just saying that, you think you can do New York, we'll catch a show, we'll eat a steak dinner, we'll grab drinks and overlook Manhattan and this and that, and then we'll also watch wrestling all day. I mean, you only have 24 hours. So I'm probably going to go anyway, but I think that it's hard to do both at the same time.
I think that's something, I don't mean to offend you, but I know you don't get offended. That's something they call first world problems right there, Tommy. You got too many great options. I can go watch the best wrestling tournament in the world, or I can go experience the best city in the world.
You're right.
Tough choices.
I am complaining about a first world problem that could be a lot worse.
It could be way worse. So, yeah, I hope I make it out there, too. It's great. Oh, man. Yeah, like you said, I love New York City. It is probably my favorite city, and NCAAs are no doubt the greatest wrestling event on the face of the earth. There's zero doubt about that.
Yeah, and then you've got these classic international wrestling guys that they get offended when you say that, but
that's bullcrap. It's the
best wrestling on the planet is at the Olympic Games or World Championships.
100%.
The best wrestling event on the planet, it's not even close.
Not even close.
It's the NCAA Wrestling Championships.
I've competed in them. You've competed in them both. Tommy, it's not close.
It's not.
It's not close. It really is.
No, our NCAA Wrestling Championships, we've spent a good amount of time on all three of our episodes kind of saying what could be better about the sport. But even though the NCAA tournament can be improved, it's a heck of a product, Ben. I mean, I if there's anything we can hang our hat on as a sport, it would be that weekend. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we talk about events, and the easiest part about the NCAAs is it sells itself because there's so much build up to it. You got this whole season of you got
there's storylines.
There's storylines. You got the team component. You got the individual components. I mean, every match matters. That's the greatest part about it is like with a state tournament or something, you could maybe skip some early rounds, but I mean when you show up at 11 a.m. on Thursday morning and Sandy Stevens says let's wrestle, that the first match matters. Every match matters because we talked about it. The Buckeyes lost by 4 points in '08. We talked about that the other night. Every single match matters, and man, that's what's so electric about it.
Exactly right, man. You said Sandy Stevens, man. Her voice, it's like Pavlov's dog for me when I hear her voice over that microphone. I just get the chills. I'm like, let's do this. It's time for the NCAA wrestling tournament, man.
Seriously. All right, hey, my wife's cooking some delicious food. We're not at an hour, but I think we went a little overtime last time. So, all right, you got anything else for us?
I don't think that I do. I mean, we broke a lot of good news. I didn't expect Noel Thompson to give us a bunch of inside information.
Seriously.
So that was a good show, man. So what do we got next week? What do we got on the dock next week?
Well, Daniel Cormier told me he's going to be on, so I'll try to finalize that.
DC UFC champion.
Yeah.
So how about this, Ben? How about we ask this question to our viewers?
Yeah.
Assuming we have Daniel Cormier on the show next week, which I think you're going to close that deal, Ben. All right? I think you're going to get it done. Assuming we have him on the show, what questions do you want us to ask Daniel out there? And just tweet to our Twitter handle. I forget what it is, Ben. What's the exact Twitter handle?
It's at T-Row Funky Show.
At T-Row Funky Show. Tweet some questions to us. If they're good, we'll ask them. If they're not good, we'll just tell you they're not good, and we're not going to ask them. What do you think? Is that fair, Ben?
That sounds perfect to me.
All right, cool.
All right, man. I'm going to go eat some food. Have a good day. You enjoy your
5 mile
run. Enjoy it.
I'll talk to you. See ya.
See ya.